few classes we learnt about how a resistance, inductor and capacitance they work individually in an AC circuit, and we also saw the response in a series RLC circuit and in a parallel RLC circuit. Today we are going to discuss one very specific aspect which is known as resonance. Okay, so in today's class we are going to learn about a resonance, and for resonance it is not going to be a pure resistance. For resonance to occur you need to have both L and C. Okay, so we will see that in details in today. This is an first we will see how does the resonance happens in an RLC series AC circuit. So you have an voltage sinusoidal signal applied here, you have a resistance R, you have an inductor L and a C which are connected in series. If I have to take only the magnitude of the total impedance, then it is given by root of R square plus XL minus XC square. Okay. This what does this indicate? So it indicates we know that XL and XC are frequency dependent components. Okay, so XL is L omega and XC is 1 by C omega. So there is a possibility, right? So that's why there is a possibility that for a particular frequency these two can become equal and cancel out each other, right? So that is known as resonance. Okay, in a series resonance circuit what happens is for a particular frequency where XL becomes XC. Okay, so this term vanishes. Okay, so you have Z is equal to root of R square or Z is equal to R. So in that particular condition I will have the maximum current which is given by I is equal to V by R. Okay, this is not that I max what we write I max is equal to sine omega CT omega t, right? So that not that I max. Okay, this is the if I plot different RMS here, okay, y axis is RMS, and if I change the frequency at resonant frequency, so XL and XC are going to cancel out each other, right? And then I will have I max, which will be I max is RMS. Okay, this is not that I max. You understand what is the difference between the I max which we have been learning? This means the maximum RMS value which will be V divided by R here. So V divided by R. So we will get it for that particular frequency. So that frequency can be known can be called as an resonant frequency of the circuit. Okay, is it understood? So let me quickly tell again what we have been discussing. You have a sinusoidal signal, you have a resistance, inductor and capacitor. So the net impedance will be given Z is equal to root of R square plus XL minus XC square. Okay, this is what we learnt in our previous class. Now for both are frequency dependent components, XL and XC, because XL is L omega and XC is 1 by C omega. So as the frequency keeps increasing at a particular frequency which is known as the resonant frequency, XL becomes equal to XC and this term becomes 0. So we just have Z is equal to R, and at that, and that is known as the resonant frequency, and at resonant frequency we will get the maximum RMS voltage. So this I max is not the I max which we learnt in the last class, indicating the peak of a sinusoidal signal. This is not that. It means the maximum RMS value for various frequencies we will get at a condition known as resonant frequency and resonance frequency, and that will be given divided by V by R. So you will find that if you keep increasing frequency, the RMS value will keep increasing. It will reach here maximum, which is V by R, and again it will keep decreasing. Okay, so this is if it is a small resistance, if this resistance is small, the IRMS will be large for at resonant frequency, and if it is a large resistance, then obviously V by R will be much lower. So this graph which is shown here is for a large resistance, and what is shown here is for a small resistance. Okay, so that what is that resonant frequency? That is L omega is equal to 1 by C omega. So you can equate this, so you get an by cross multiplying it, and you get f0 square, or resonant frequency square you get. So you take the root, so you get 2 pi root LC. So this is the formula to compute the resonant frequency. So is this response understood by all of you? Okay, so let's move on from here. Now also this is a very important thing, which is quality factor, which is used in all RF designs. So let me introduce you to this term. What is quality factor? Okay, the sharpness of the resonance in a resonant circuit is measured quantitatively by quality factor Q. That means this one, which is going up sharp and falling below, and whereas the one in the bottom is just slowly rounding off. So the one which is rising up sharp and following, that we say it has gotten a higher Q. Okay, a higher quality factor. Okay, so why we say that, and I'll discuss that in the next slide. It is a very important figure of merit for any circuit. Okay, so the Q is also defined by, so there are various definitions of, in the next 4 or 5 slides you will find Q is defined in various manners. Okay, but everything indicates the same thing. So Q is 2 pi into a peak energy stored in the circuit divided by energy dissipated in the circuit in one time period, and at resonance frequency. Okay, that is also important. Okay, at resonant frequency, not at any frequency. We don't compute Q at this frequency or at this frequency. Q is always computed at the resonant frequency. It is calculated at the resonant frequency. The peak energy stored in the circuit, okay, in one time period, divided by the energy dissipated in the circuit in one time period. Okay, so that is the definition of Q. So we will see what is the importance of Q in the so the importance of Q, like we generally have tuned circuits. Suppose I have a mobile, I have an input and an RF signal coming in here. So there will be several in the RF signals available in the atmosphere, right? By different say mobile operators. Airtel could be operating in one frequency, and some other operator may be operating, Jio may be operating in some other frequency, or you could have other than mobile, you could have other RF signals also in the atmosphere, right? But say if you have inserted an Airtel SIM and you want to just tune your circuit only to that, then you have something known as a tuned circuit. You can have an LC network here, where either the capacitance or the inductance can be variable. Generally it is the capacitance, so that you tune it so that this offers the maximum impedance for only one particular frequency, which is the desired frequency, right? So we are going to learn about the BJT amplifiers towards the end of the course. So here if you see, the impedance is matched only for the desired frequency, right? It is the maximum for this particular frequency given by LC. So that is where we used this resonance. And if you see here, the quality factor means if it is got a good quality factor, then I will be able to select the desired frequency. If the quality factor is poor, then you will have all frequencies which are adjacent to the required frequency, they also will pass through this. So if at all I have to have a good selectivity, just select the required frequency, then the quality factor should be high. Okay, so that is where the definition of Q is important. Okay, Q defines the quality factor. That means how best it can select the desired frequency. Okay, that is what Q means. So if you see Q here, and if you try to for a parallel RLC circuit, for a series RLC, here it was a parallel RLC circuit, that also will have the same kind of selectivity, and we'll see that also. But here we are talking about a series RLC circuit. So the quality factor how is it going to be defined? We saw it is 2 pi by energy stored in the circuit. Okay, the energy stored in the circuit will be the same energy will be stored in the L or C. So you can take one of them. Okay, here the energy which, if you are taking energy stored into the inductor, you can take it in the capacitor also, because at resonance they are going to be the same. So here in this particular derivation, I have considered the energy being stored in the inductor, which is half Li square, and what is the energy dissipated is half Li square, where I is I max, right? So I max. Similarly, the energy which gets dissipated in this resistance will be I RMS square into R, that is the power. We know the power, right? Power is I RMS square into R. So if I take the max value, then it will be I square by 2 into R, but that is the power. Now if I have to find out the energy, I have to divide it by the frequency, right? So because that is power. Power is what? Energy per unit time. So now if I have to find out the energy, I have to divided by the frequency Fr. So this is the bottom one is the energy which gets dissipated as heat. This is the energy which gets stored in the inductor per cycle into 2 pi. So you get the formula for computing Q of this circuit as 2 pi Fr L divided by R. Okay, this Fr is the resonant frequency. Again, we know we can do these substitutions also. Alright, and 2 pi Fr is omega R, L by R. So this can be written out here, and also we can write in terms of capacitance also, right? And because L by R, here L omega is we found out here. It is like omega is equal to root LC, right? 2 pi goes there, omega is equal to root LC. So we can write this L omega as an omega R by C also here, right? So this gets modified. So in terms of C and R, the quality factor is written here. And if you don't want to write in terms of the resonant frequency, just merely in terms of R, L and C, then you can use this formula. So the Q can be either written with the help of L and R and the resonating frequency, or R and C and the resonating frequency. Again, resonating frequency is a function of L and C, that we know, or merely in terms of 1 R, L and C. So this is how we define the quality factor for this series circuit. Again, there are other definitions are also available for quality factor, but essentially they all zero down to the same formulas ultimately. The quality factor is known as the reactive power by the average power. So if the this is also one of the definitions. So reactive power is I square XL, which is omega R into L, and average power is I square R. So that I square gets cancelled. So you get L omega by R. Okay, this is not again I am emphasizing it. A quality factor is omega R, not any frequency, but at resonant frequency. So we define the quality factor only at resonant frequency. So this becomes an omega R L by R. So similarly, reactive power across the capacitor also is going to be the same, right? So these are going to cancel each other. So and that is why you can either take L or you can take C. So I square XC by I square R. So you will get an 1 by omega R C R. So these are the same formula. So there are several ways of defining quality factor. Okay. Now if you see the voltage across the resistance at resonant frequency will be the applied voltage. Whatever is the applied voltage, the voltage VL and VC are going to cancel each other, and because the impedance they get cancelled each other. So you have I into R. So you have an IM into R. So you get this same voltage. Whatever is the applied voltage, that will be available across R. And what about the voltage across L and C? So if you see VL is XL into IL. Okay, XL is the reactance of the inductor. So you can write omega R into L. right, and then if you just substitute the value of Q there, you get Q into V. Okay, so that is the voltage which will be available across the inductor. Similarly, what is the voltage available across capacitance will be Q into V. Okay, if you do the substitution out here. So what happens is, if you have, so whenever we are making a series circuit like this, so we have to be very careful. Suppose I am applying 220 volt out here, the entire 212 at resonant frequency, the entire 220 volt will be available across resistance, and it is very much possible that 1000 volts is available across L and 1000 volts is available across C, but this voltage will be leading this voltage by 90 degree, and this will be leading this voltage of resistance lagging by 90 degree. So these are going to be out of phase with each other, which they will cancel. Okay, but still the voltages which will be experienced by this inductor and the capacitor can be several times higher than the applied voltage, total voltage available. Okay, so because so that is possible in an AC circuit. If we are so we got to be careful with that. So we need to keep these aspects back in mind. So the so when we have taking a capacitor and all, so we have to see the maximum voltages it can withstand. Okay, because at resonant frequency a high voltage can come across these capacitances, so they could be a breakdown or puncture. So we have to be careful with whenever we are designing series RLC circuits. It's the same for even for in parallel. You will find the currents through these can go Q times the current which is flowing in the inductor, but in a series you will find the voltage across these inductors and capacitors can be Q times the voltage, total voltage which is being applied. Okay, so this is what again in the this is what happens, like this is the applied voltage V, which gets at resonance, that total voltage will be available across the resistance, and then you can have and in 90 degree leading voltage across the inductor and 90 degree lagging voltage across the capacitor, and the magnitude will be QV and QV, and both will be equal, and since they are in opposite in direction, they'll cancel they'll cancel each other. Okay, so this we need to remember this aspect. Now here there is something known as, we defined the Q, right? Now there is one more important thing which defines these kind of circuits, which is known as the bandwidth. Okay, so bandwidth is see, this is the resonating frequency in center. Bandwidth is the when this signal, okay, if you see the here the I is dropping here, I is dropping here. So we take two more points where I is I max divided by root 2. I max is this, I max by root 2. Here also it is I max by root 2. So why root 2 is because at these two frequencies the power will be half. Okay, since it is I square by R, so obviously that is why we take I max by root 2 here. Okay, so the current magnitude will be 1 by root 2 times here, and the current magnitude here also will be 1 by root 2, but the power at these two frequencies will be exactly a half of the power which is being delivered at this point, right? It's a series RLC circuit, so at this particular frequency maximum power will be taken from the circuit. Okay, at these two frequencies, omega 1 and omega 2, half power, whatever was the power being drawn from the source, say if it is 1000 watts power was being drawn here, at these two it will be at these two frequencies only 500 watts of power will be drawn from the source, right? And the current amplitude will be I max divided by root 2 here, I max divided by root 2. So that we define as bandwidth. Okay, bandwidth is omega 2 minus omega 1, so this much. So this is the known as the bandwidth of the circuit. Now, so if I have to find out what are at those frequencies Okay, how to compute what are those frequencies. Okay, now the next question is how to compute the bandwidth. Now I have a series RLC circuit. I know the value of RLC. From the value of an LC, I can find out what is the resonant frequency. But how to find out what will be the bandwidth? Okay, now how to find out the bandwidth is now here the I max, the I RMS has to be I max divided by root 2. Here also it has to be I max divided by root 2. So how can this become root 2 times? Okay, the because you have an so the resistance has to increase, right, by R. The total impedance has to increase by root 2 times R. Only then the current will become I max by root 2. Now the new impedance which has to be offered by the circuit has to be R times root 2. Now R times root 2, right? So the how can this increase? So now it is an we are only changing the frequency right here. So once we are changing the frequency, now at omega 1, what happens is it is a low frequency. So 1 by C omega will be much greater than L omega out here. So along with R there will be 1 by C omega minus L omega component also, which will come. Okay, so if that XC minus XL, if that is R, then what happens is R and R, that and you have one R which is and then at a 90 degree you have another R which is the normal resistance here. Like so at omega 1 what happens is XC minus XL, this will become R. Okay, and that is at a 90 degree as opposed to this R. Okay, because this is an net is going to be a capacitive effect, because resistance inductor we are assuming at omega 1 will have will be much lower than the capacitance. So this is going to be the dominant factor there. So now this is going to be at 90 degrees. So that if that is R and this is R, then you take a vector sum of those two, you will get an root 2 times, right? So that is what here it is mentioned out here. So R root 2. Okay, and also the net impedance will be 45 degree, because the capacitance minus the inductor at omega 1 is going to create and 90 degree offset impedance, which is going to come in series with the resistance. So you will have the net coming as 45 degree. Similarly at omega 2 at a different frequency, in this case L omega minus C omega, that magnitude will be R. Okay, and this time the phase is going to be positive. So that is why these two frequencies, at these two frequencies, the total impedance can be defined as R root 2, and the angle is plus minus 45 degree out here, right? So if you see R root 2 plus minus 45, if I write it in rectangular coordinates, it can be written as 1 plus minus Ji. Right. So these are the two impedance. So at here it will be at half power omega 1, it will be R 1 minus 1 J, and here it will be R 1 plus J, R into 1 plus J. Okay, so these are the two impedances, okay, for computing the bandwidth. Now this is RLC series, this is RLC in series, right? So we can also write this as R plus J into L omega minus 1. So you take an R common out here, and also you have 1 plus J into this term. Okay, so R is also brought within this. So you have taken an R out. Okay, essentially to compare it with this. Okay, if you compare these two out here, then you can write an L omega R minus 1 by C is plus minus 1. So this whole term is plus minus 1 here. So again we know the value of an Q, omega R by L, or we can substitute these values also. So if we put that here, okay, in those values, so we can get we can compute the value of omega 2 and omega 1 by using these equations. Okay, so I'll share these slides. These are all simple mathematics. Only thing is, see, if Q is known, we can and omega r is known. So by using these two formulas, we can compute the value of omega 2 and omega 1. Right? You have an RLC circuit from where we know omega r. Omega r is equal to 1 by root LC. Right? Again, Q is L omega by r. Okay, so you can compute. Then the next step is to find out what is the bandwidth. So for bandwidth, you need to know W2, omega 2 and omega 1. So using these two formulas, we can compute the values of omega 2 and omega 1. Okay, so that's how we compute the bandwidth. So this is again the same from here. It is written out here. So this is where omega 2 and omega 1. So these are the formulas to compute omega 2 and omega 1. Right. So bandwidth will be omega 2 minus omega 1. Okay, which is also given by omega r divided by Q. So if you are not specifically told to compute W2 and W1, then the question is pretty simple. Omega r can be found out by this equation, right? By this, okay, 1 by root LC, or omega r is 1 by root LC. So if you are told to, where is that? Yeah, only the bandwidth, then you can use this formula straight away. You can find the value of omega r, and you can find the value of Q, which is L omega by r, and then you can find the bandwidth. But if you are told to find omega 2 and omega 1, then you can use these formula. Okay, or alternatively, you can do one more thing. If the bandwidth is known and the center frequency is known, okay, this is the center frequency which is known, and the bandwidth is also known. Okay, you can obtain the bandwidth omega r by Q. Then you can omega r minus bandwidth by 2. You will get again omega 1, and omega r plus bandwidth by 2 will give omega 2. So that way also you can compute. So all this, there are several formulas now we have discussed. So you can use whatever is comfortable to you to obtain. So there are several ways to compute omega 2, omega 1, even Q. We saw there are 3 formulas with which you can find out an Q. Resonant frequency, obviously there is a single formula, that is 1 by root LC. Okay. So this is bandwidth again. Okay, same thing. So there are several ways. That's what we discussed. You can bandwidth by 2, omega minus omega 1 is bandwidth by 2. So you can compute omega 1 by omega r minus bandwidth by 2, and omega 2 as omega r plus bandwidth by 2. Okay, so this is what I just explained to you guys. So we'll take just one numerical. So it says for an RLC circuits having a 40 ohms resistor and 3 millihenry inductor and 5 microfarad capacitor and voltage RMS 120, find the average power at resonant frequency. What would it be? Anybody can just make a wild guess. What will be the power? Yes, Ananya, anybody? It says it at resonant frequency. So at resonant frequency, you can straight away say the inductor and the capacitor, they cancel out each other. Okay, so only the resistor would remain. So the current will be or you can simply write V square by R. Okay, 120 square by 40. Or V into I will be V divided by R 3 and 120, and power factor will be 1 at resonance. So this is straightforward. So all this this will you don't have to get into the details of the impedance offered by inductor and capacitor, since it is written clearly. It is we need to find the average power at resonant frequency. So at resonance, these are going to cancel out each other. Okay. So similarly, like we said, resonance, we can have resonance in parallel RLC circuit also. You have an R, L and C connected in parallel. So there we saw that in a parallel, in a series circuit, the current would go to a maximum at resonance. In a parallel circuit, what happens is the current will come to an minimum, okay, at resonance. That is because normally the current which is coming from the source gets splits into three different branches. Okay, one goes into the inductor, one goes into the capacitor, and one goes into the resistance. At resonance, the current which goes into the inductor and the current which goes into the capacitor, they will be exactly 180 degree out of phase, or they cancel each other. So there will be only a current flowing. Net current will be, although there will be current flowing in the other two branches also, but the net current, the total current which is being consumed from the source will be only the current which is flowing into the inductor. So hence you have a minima there. Okay, so if you plot current versus frequency, you will get a minima at minimum current at resonance frequency. Again, the resonance frequency formula will be exactly the same out here. Okay, the resonant frequency will be same. However, the quality factor out here, there we saw it was L divided by R. Okay, here it will be R divided by L. Okay, L omega. So and this definition of the quality factor in a parallel in RLC circuit and a series, okay, they change. Okay, so if you see here, the R here L omega is in there, if you have a higher inductor and a lower resistance, okay, the quality factor would be high. Here the resistance has to be higher, and then the inductance comes in the denominator in this particular case. So this is the change. Otherwise, rest of the things are same. Okay, so you have to be careful while computing the quality factor. Like it is different for parallel and series connections, the way it is defined out here. Otherwise, bandwidth and all is same, upper minus lower, and resonant frequency divided by Q. This is another formula which holds good for both parallel and series. The top one which is written, the bandwidth definition is same whether it is parallel or series, whereas the quality factor definition is different out here for series and parallel out here, right. So if you take one example here, now here we have a source where you have R, L and C connected in parallel. The value of the resistance is given as 60 ohms and L as 200 millihenry and capacitance as 120 microfarad. So and you are applying a sinusoidal signal of 100 volts. And the question goes like, calculate the resonant frequency. So we have to find out the resonant frequency, the quality factor and the bandwidth of the circuit, the circuit current at resonance and the current magnification. Okay, what is current magnification is the you have at resonance you have some current going in IR. So Q times the current is going to flow in IL and IC. Like in series, we had Q times the voltage being developed across L and C. Similarly, here we will have Q times the current of IR flowing into IL and IC. So that is known as the current magnification. So first at resonant frequency, we are going to use the same formula. This remains the same. And the inductive reactance at resonance is you use 2 pi L omega formula, and the quality factor is here. If you see, the quality factor is defined R divided by XL. Okay, so R divided by XL, again R divided by XL at resonance. Okay, quality factor is always at resonance, so you get 1.47. Now bandwidth, again this definition is common for parallel and series, so it is the resonant frequency divided by Q, so 22 hertz you get. So now upper and lower 3 dB frequencies, okay, are just like upper frequencies like an R, FR minus half the bandwidth. Bandwidth is 22, so it will be 11, and the resonant frequency we obtained as 32.5. So you subtract that from the resonant frequency, and to obtain the higher 3 dB point, 3 dB means it is in log, right? So the power, where the power gets in a half. Okay, so if 0 is the normal power, minus 3 dB means the power will 20 log half, so that will come to as minus 3. So that is the reason it is also known as minus 3 dB. So the higher frequency, higher cutoff frequency can be obtained by FR plus half the bandwidth. So you can use this data and get the higher cutoff frequency. Now the current through the resistance will be V divided by R. Okay, so it is 100 divided by 60. This is the 100 is given in the question itself, right? The 100 volts is being applied here. So 100 divided by R. Now current magnification is at resonance. The current which will flow will be Q times IT. Okay, that is known as the current magnification. So the 2.45 amperes will flow into the inductor as well as the capacitor, but they will be in opposite phase. So they get cancelled. Okay, so that can be verified like this also. So where did I get 2.45? That is Q times IT. Or if I just compute the value V divided by XL at resonant frequency, again you will get 2.45. If I again do V divided by XC also, I will get 2.45, right? So and we know the currents in an inductor and a capacitor, they are 90-degree lead and lag with respect to the resistance. So with respect to resistance, inductor and capacitor, they become 180-degree out of phase. So they cancel each other. Okay, so that's about a resonance. So with that we'll come to an end of AC analysis, and then in the next class we are going to take on 3-phase circuits now. Okay, thanks a lot. If you have any doubts, you can ask me now.
No doubt, sir.